develop all the 5 negotiation skills. So if you keep on practicing, you will develop it better. So you keep on practicing and you develop. But whenever you have to make a presentation, whenever you have to prepare for a negotiation, rather than focusing only on this, also focus on the other part. How are they? Who are they? How do we manage them? And I will quote here what the Prime Minister's speech. So the Prime Minister gave a speech on Mission Mangal and on Mars mission, right? On Mars mission. And he's on record where he says that we communicated, rather, what we did was we sent the satellite to Mars at a cost of 7 rupees per kilometer, which is cheaper than the auto price of 8 to 10 rupees per kilometer. You can Google it. What has he done? He translated that 800 crores into per kilometer rate, which is more understandable by the common public. And this is how you connect with the audiences. And this is where receiver becomes important. And the 4 stages of negotiation, of course, the first stage being preparation, the second stage being opening session. The third is where the bargaining happens. So when initially someone asked me that we normally, when we think of negotiation, it's price, it's something, we only understand bargaining as negotiation. But bargaining is just one stage of negotiation. You have a preparation, you have an opening session. How do you begin? What do you speak? And then finally is settlement, the final signing of the agreements. And so we have skills, we have goals, and then ultimately we have 4 stages of negotiations. I'll pause here and now I'll open up the floor for questions. I'm sure you have a couple of them. So I'll come to Abhishek first. Yes, Abhishek, please go ahead.
Professor, I had a question on detachment. Detachment as a skill which you just shared. I mean, considering the fact that human mind is generally wired for a kind of attachment or identity seeking, how practical it is and how can it really be practiced?
I would not tell something if I don't practice. So one is I would not tell something if it cannot be practiced. So I do. And that's why I'm saying this. So that is one. So it can be practiced. When you say, I think your question says, how is it, how do we do that? Right? So the answer lies in social identity theory. So there is a theory called social identity theory, which says that an individual derives identity from various places he or she is attached to, right? So I derive my identity by being a faculty at a time in Indore. You would derive your identity by being the employee at a particular place. Whatever is more important, right? People derive identity from various sources. When you have only one identity which is extremely important to you, then it becomes difficult for you to detach. But when you have multiple identities, that is, I am not a faculty only. Imagine 24 hours in my house, I roam as I am a faculty with Hamilton. Now my wife tells me, give me a glass of water and say, I am a faculty with Hamilton. Imagine, right? And we do this. We do this in our organizations. I'm a manager. I'm this. If you are only in that identity, if you are consumed by that identity, then you will never be able to detach it. You will have to practice. You will have to draw your identity from multiple things. You are not only one thing, you have multiple things to do. I'm not only a faculty. I have multiple other hobbies, multiple other things that I do, and each of them gives me the personality I have. Now, when you make the identity that is being questioned in a conflict very small, You may not be able to detach yourself, but you are able to shun the attachment for a while and answer. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, yes, Professor.
So you don't magnify that part of yours which is questioned. See, when you are questioned as a brother, as a son, as a father, you start taking, how can you ask me this? I have done so much. But the moment you deflate that part of identity of yours and you start seeing that, no, I have done better in other places. Here, someone's questioning, let me understand and answer. It becomes lighter. It becomes lighter. Detachedness is an aspect of not getting attached with something too much that it starts impacting your behavior, your perception. And I will quote a movie here, right? So there is a movie called Dear Zindagi. I'm not sure if you have seen. It's acted by Shah Rukh Khan and Alia Bhatt. Abhishek, have you seen?
No, I've not seen that.
You should see. Uh, you should see. It's a good movie. It's not. There is a line in that where Alia Bhatt has issues with her parents, and apparently the parents haven't been very good to her in her childhood. They left her with her grandparents and all those things. And Shah Rukh Khan says one line that sometimes we need to see our parents not as parents, but as normal humans. The problem is, the problem is not with her parents. Of course, they did what they did. The problem is she is consumed with her treatment as a child by her parents. You have to outgrow. You have to outgrow. Detachedness helps you with that. I'm sure you're not very convinced, but you can still counter question. I'm okay to answer. I often get this question, that is detachedness possible? With practice, it is. Yeah, is it empathy?
No, Professor, of course, on a point valid, I take whatever your points and makes a lot of sense. But, just one point, which I want to say, irrespective of, even if I'm not attaching myself, as you mentioned, in multiple roles, could be on the personal front, but me as a person, me as an individual, me as an identity, I think my initial reaction, let's say for detachment, if somebody says something, since our human, as I mentioned, is wired for identity preservation, it could be, my role agnostic. I mean, I could not be detaching myself either on the professional or the personal side. But as an identity, that might be my natural instinct or reaction if somebody says that.
Controlling your natural instincts gives you an edge in negotiations. I'm not saying I always do this. I'll be honest here. I also naturally sometimes I'm a very aggressive person. And sometimes I naturally react very aggressive. But when you keep on evaluating yourselves, at the end of the day, I do evaluate, I should have behaved a little different. Over the period of years, you will realize that you have been able to calm down or control your natural instincts of behavior or responses. It's not easy. It's not easy. I'm not saying it is easy. Detachedness is easy to practice, but not easy. So natural instincts, controlling natural instincts takes time and it will take probably forever. You will only become little better than you were yesterday. That's it. So you keep on learning. There, I'm not saying I also fall into the trap, right? I say that, say for example, right? You're driving on the road and there is a hawker who dashes into the car and the headlight is broken. Now the natural instinct is obviously to abuse that guy, to get angry on that guy. But how quickly are you able to control that? Because ultimately he's a hawker. He won't be able to pay you for the broken headlight. He doesn't have money. He may not be able to pay you, so you're not going to get anything out of it. How quickly are you able to realize this? Is what you have to. You get what I'm saying, Abhishek? Right? You're traveling in a flight and there is a kid traveling next to you and he spills the hot coffee over your clothes. Now, obviously, a hot coffee is spilled on my clothes. I'm going to get angry because hot coffee. How quickly am I able to control? Now, in the two examples, do you see? You will calm down very fast when it's the child, but you will not calm down as fast when it is the hawker. So that's where you will have to train yourself because the outcome is the same. It's neither of them is going to do anything. You can't work it out. So it's about practicing this and you keep on improving. But negotiate, that's why I say they say that negotiators have poker face. What is poker face? It's basically not showing emotions. It's basically controlling their emotions. They are able to control their emotions. And emotion, anger is an emotion, you know that. Anger is an emotion. But anger is also a sign of attachment. You only get angry with people you feel attached to. I might tell you something, but that would hurt you less. But if your spouse tells you the same thing, it would hurt you more. Anger is a sign of attachment, and the more you can reduce that attachment, it is better. I'm not telling you to be not emotionally involved with people, please understand. What I'm saying is, when such a thing happens, see it a little detached and react. That helps. One technique that you can use if you have the opportunity is do not react then and there. Sleep for 2. Normally, when you sleep for 2 days, the third day the anger by default has gone down. You are able to see it much more clearly. So sleep for 2 days. Where you have the opportunity, not everywhere you have. Sometimes you have to respond then and there. But where you have, do this. Don't worry. Sometimes when you have to respond, you don't have the flexibility of 2 days, do something. Do something that you like. Maybe like going to the balcony, maybe like taking a walk, maybe running, maybe playing a game. But can I tell you after a game of cricket? Whatever you play, tennis, whatever freshens your mind, that would give you the perspective. But if it requires instantaneous response instantly, then it's only controlling instincts which comes with that. I think I have elaborated enough on this.
Yes, Professor. Thank you.
Yes, Radhika, please go ahead.
Uh, so I need to ask question that you have explained the case about that college. The girl asked you and you answered that way. I'll let you know by tomorrow. You asked me this question tomorrow. So this was your sentence. By God grace, you haven't fallen into further argumentation. Otherwise, I have faced a similar case. So having worked with the US Embassy and then I was hired by a leading school in Gurgaon of many floors and I was hired as a principal there. And the parents came and asked me, "You look so young. How will you be able to handle such a big school?" So having gained experience from US Embassy, I was having managerial experience, and then I did my child psychology course, and I got into that position. So this is how it worked out for me. But the parents, there were a couple of parents who came consecutively to me and asking me that how come you are there in this position and how will you be able to handle this? You haven't fallen into further argumentation that the girl is paying that fees, hefty fees. For in my case, the parents straight away asked me, I'm paying a hefty fees. I want to know the reason. Tell me the reason straight away, right now, just now. So,
Reason,
yeah,
reason for what?
reason for why I'm here at this position as a principal in that leading preschool.
If me being the principal was an important factor in you paying the fees, probably you should have asked it before. Probably you should have asked before. But nonetheless, I'm very sure it's not going to be an issue for you. You won't regret it. I answer.
That's a one line answer.
I answer. I exactly answered. Right? See, this question also tests. I gave you the answer. Now you tell me, you give me any counter, I'll keep on answering. And this is true for anyone, right? I'll keep on answering. And I didn't have your situation before. I answered you instantly. It's a one liner, but it answers, right? Now you as a parent can control, I mean, give me more questions. I just give you two things, that if it was a prison, you should have asked before paying. But nonetheless, I know you have paid. You're not gonna regret. That's it. That also assures. So I'm telling them their mistake, that you did not do your homework. And at the same time, I'm reassuring them that that's okay. You're still in a good place. That's it. I've only said that much. What I meant is this. Radhika, you're silent. I assume that you like the answer, right? So, yes,
Got it, sir.
Anisha, please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Please.
So many times, what I face is usually I face such circumstances with people who are pretty much elder to me, and I can understand the between the language that not only just I am younger, pretty much younger to them, but also I'm a female. I don't know. Nobody has voiced it out, but I did sense it many a times. So
Anisha,
yes,
it is very difficult for me to give a broad answer to this.
no, no, I
Just
have not.
give me an exact scenario I can answer.
Yes, sir. So
How?
my question is
Oh,
this: that if I mention such one-liner or very crisp answer to any senior, like right, even if I'm right, even if I'm not crossing the border of my the limits of my, like I'm being authoritative or I'm being rude.
oh, oh, you say differently. So I chair the program,
Yeah.
and the officer in the program is, so I mean, he has experience equal to my age. It almost. So whatever is my age, the officer in the program has the same experience in the institute. So you got it. He's much more elder to me, and I'm the boss, of course. I'm the chair of the programs. When I have to tell him or her something, I normally, so if it is something that they should have done and they have not done, I normally say, see, you have got an experience more than my age. It pains me to tell you this. Now, there I'm not supposed to be one line answers. See, I'm not telling you one liners are the best ones. Because here you're talking about people whom you work with. People whom you work with require relationship building, require generating trust. And when you are generating trust, it requires that conversation. So here I will not give one liners.
Yeah,
Even if you see, I did not give a one liner in the principal's case. What I said is I addressed their problem, but there I am on authority and you are questioning my authority. In working with people, people might come out of their own perceptions. That's okay, that's their call. I will answer it irrespective of that, the way what is should be done. So you need to be focused on what you have to do and communicate that as respectfully. You have to acknowledge. See, it's important for an individual to acknowledge what their limitation is. In your case, or probably in my case, is the experience. Can you do something about female male? No, that's their perception. Let it be. But experience is a limitation. And you can acknowledge that. Let's see, I don't have much experience. So I am open to your feedback, but in my opinion, this is what we should do. And then they will give their feedback. I can take this exact scenarios offline, as I say. It's difficult for me to take it right now because it would extend it.
okay.
Sure, sure. Yes, Ashish, please go ahead.
No, actually, I got my answer. We don't want to extend if for
No,
the
no, no,
time.
you go ahead. I answered Anisha the broad answer.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
Manish, you
So,
want to ask, you ask. That's okay. I'm not trying to dissuade questions.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. So, let's say you are on the principal side. Example like what Radhika has trying to set it up, but I have faced a problem like where people are trying to argue as a counter. So, in that situations, how we have to handle that part? Just for a sake, like I can say, my kid, like I studied well earlier. There was a person on the chair who got retired. Now you came after I have paid the fees. Okay. Now you come on the chair. Now you are quite junior. Why should I study back again about you? And I have already paid that big amount. So any kind of scenario will come where people will start.
So what I'm saying is that they paid the fees when they were senior, but then you have now joined, you are young, so I think we were cheated. That's what you're saying, right?
So this is one of the example. Maybe what I'm trying to say. How
So
the argue
no,
basically.
you reiterate. You still reiterate that I understand your concern. If they argue back, you have to say again. So if I answered a one liner and they again argue back that, you are saying that we did not do homework, but we paid fees when someone was senior and now you have joined, you are junior. In that case, you say, see, I understand your concern, but you have to, but so normally what you would say is, I understand your concern. And if I would be in your place, I might have these same questions. But then I would also see at the other side that the person who you saw and paid for actually approved mine. So if you trusted him to do the job, I'm sure that you can trust me to do the job. You got this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if see one-liners or authority when questioned by too many and too vehemently, it requires you to play. So negotiation is a dance. What you need to do is play according to the tunes that are playing in the conflict. If that girl would have not taken that answer, I would have to go on the other side. Because there is a difference between a scenario of a faculty student where the faculty has absolute authority versus a principal parent where the principal doesn't have the absolute authority. Because parent is a paymaster, right? So you will have to twist accordingly. So, but you still continue to hold your composure.
Yeah, exactly. That's
And
the part.
even after this answer, if they still counter back, you counter them back with the same. That see, your children are in the school and they are gonna be in the workforce in next 10 years. Would you like that they are not given what they deserve just because they are young? If not, then how are you putting it with me? So you go with, so you have to go in a very explaining fashion. See, you have to explain them the scenario. So you have to see what tunes is it going. But then there are some people who you can never manage, and then you cannot. So as I said, I told to Anisha also, right, that if someone comes with that they speak to her because she's a female, I can't answer that, right? Because that's their perception. I will ignore it. That needs to be ignored. So that's where it is. Yes, Devendra, please go ahead.
Sir, what I understood now that these things require experience as well as good case studies or maybe case by case. Can you recommend something that has more negotiation points from book or?
So the best case study is what happens in our own organizational life. What you do is every day when you face a conflicting situation, um, at the end of the day, you see what was the situation, what you responded, and could you have responded better? Could you have managed it better? If there is some friend of yours, maybe the same class, maybe some other friend who understands, and have a diverse group so that you get diverse opinions, and keep on learning that every day. Because no book would eventually help you. There are so many books. You go to crossword, you go to any book and pick up any. There are so many books. You pick up any, all of them will be a learning at this stage because you have not read any. Right. You can pick up any because you have not read it. Everyone will teach you. But the best way to make a change is this, that at the end of the day, so it's been 6.5 years since I taught, right? And I would have taught negotiations over 100 times. Even today, after every class, I wait for the feedback. That's not all. I do ponder as to how could I have handled the class better? How could I have answered this better? Even today, I do that. And I'll keep on doing that. Because that's the only way how you can learn. Because people can share their experiences, but they cannot make you feel that experience. You only feel it. So you have to learn with your own experiences. You read others, pick any book, and that would be helpful. A good book is William Ury. So URY, William Ury is the one who writes on negotiations, and he writes a couple of books. So there's a couple of books. You read that. That would probably be a good start. But he's more diplomatic, not corporate. So if you read a corporate negotiation, sales negotiations book, you will have a different approach. While when you read a William Ury's book, you will have a different approach because they all deal in different contexts. So you'll have to work it out. There are a couple of books whether how to manage difficult bosses. There are a couple of books on how to deal with crucial conversations. That how do you handle difficult conversations? So you have to handle all of them. So I read all of them and then I bring into the class. So nothing you would find in one place, right? Because I'm practically a negotiations, and when I say teams, I also focus on group decision making. So that's where my focus is: how to communicate most effectively. That's where I focus the most. Yes, Mike, please go ahead.
Sir, might be I'm not good in the negotiation, so I want to understand more into the negotiation side because when a candidate is getting selected, then there is a chances he will back out because of the salary.
Hmm.
So basically, थोड़ा सा चाहिए कुछ.
Question क्या है?
So question is, you are saying that 15 lakh is the budget. Yeah, he said okay. After the selection, he is saying I want a 20 lakh. From 15 lakh to 20 lakh, we are also not having the budget. I do not know in this current situation in the market who is giving the 20 lakh. I am telling to him that this is the market scenario. Everything I am telling to him, what we are giving, what is the project, what you will get, company things. Manager also spoke with him, and then after that also he is saying that no 20 lakh I want, if you want to give, it's okay. See, the question is I cannot go back to the manager that भैया ये नहीं आएगा, है ना, क्योंकि manager भी second will not entertain a second candidate. He will say that no, I want this candidate. So I want like how I can negotiate and what I will do a separate thing that this candidate will come because manager thinks like
No, so if you don't have the budget actually,
uh,
you have to go to the manager. And if I would be in your place, what I would do is I would say that I had already communicated this to the candidate that this is the budget. The candidate now knows that he is our choice, and so he's trying to extort us. While I understand that he's your best or he's your first choice, I don't think we should hire him. Not because he's asking more, but because he doesn't seem to be a reliable person.
mm,
So I would go to the manager and answer this. I hope you got the answer. You can't convince someone because that person's trying to loot you and they will loot you.
correct. But
I can't convince someone for something. See, if negotiation skills would be so helpful, then I would go to tomorrow the Prime Minister of Pakistan and say that leave POK, right?
but sir, in
Not
our
that easy that I cannot convince that part, but how you manage is managing the situations, as I said. Yeah.
okay.
Yes, Anirudh, please go ahead.
I just want to go back a little bit. So when we were talking about, so either we have task conflict, and if they are unresolved, they often lead to relationship conflicts. I mean, I think we also have situations where if we don't have good relationship for whatever reason, that may transcend to having dispute when they are actually trying to resolve some task-based conflicts.
No, no. So once it goes into relationship conflict, then the conflict will spill over in everything where they interact. So if we both have a relationship conflict, even a small task conflict will turn into relationship. That's why relationship conflicts are bad conflicts. You cannot say that we both are not on good terms, but we will be good here. That's not possible.
Okay. Okay. So you already
Relationship conflicts completely swallows task conflict. So now it's relationship conflict only. You can't do anything.
I think you already answered it because I was going to say if I have a relationship conflict, but the situation or the size of my team or the company doesn't allow you to pick and choose team members, do we have a way to still get onto
You will have to
on
resolve the
board?
relationship conflict, and which is very difficult.
Okay.
Which is very difficult, almost impossible. So we decided about the nego. So what we have done so far is we discussed about the two types of conflicts. We discussed about the 4 levels of conflicts. And we understood that conflicts is the way where you go and negotiate. So negotiation is a way to resolve conflicts. Within the negotiation, we discussed the 5 skills of negotiation. We discussed 4 stages of negotiation. And at the same time, we discussed three goals of negotiation. The stages of negotiation helps you prepare opening, bargaining, and closing. Skills is something you have to develop in yourself. Goals is something that you want out of the negotiation. And based on the goals, you decide the strategy in negotiation. And the strategy in negotiation is again decided on 2 things: task and relationship. Importance of task and importance of relationship. Every negotiating situation, every conflict situation that you face is can be classified into this quadrant. There is no conflict situation which cannot be classified into this 2 by 2. Low, high, low, high. Now imagine a conflict situation where you don't care about what has happened, right? But someone has an issue with that. Say, for example, you get a call from some bank that please buy our credit card, please buy our credit card. Now there is a conflict. You don't sense it, but there is a conflict because they want you to buy, you don't want to buy. What do you do normally? Most likely, people will cut the phone. Unless someone says कि सर आवाज अच्छी थी मैंने तो बात कर ली, people will normally cut the phone. And this is because you don't care about credit cards, neither you care about relationship. And this is called avoidance. The strategy that you do is avoidance. If you are not going to get anything accomplished by getting or resolving or negotiating a thing, and you don't care about the person with whom you have the problem, you normally should avoid it. So if a hawker comes and dashes my car, my basic instinct may be to shout at him. But very soon I will realize that he's not going to pay for the headlight. He'll not be able to pay for the damage. And I don't care about having terms with him. So I'll just let it go. I'll avoid it. I'll shun it. Knowing which conflicts fall into this domain saves you a lot of time. Because if you get into a wrong conflict which you are not supposed to be a part of, you are wasting a lot of resources. The next comes is where the importance of task is high. Say selling your product, gaining a customer, buying a product, hiring an employee. The importance of task is very high. In this case, but the relationship is low. You don't care about the relationship. This is normally a strategy which is called competition. This strategy is normally adopted when you are doing one-way dealings, one-time dealings. What is one-time dealing? You deal with them once, you never have to deal with them again. There is never going to be a recurring job. So the hiring the employee is not a competitive strategy because they are going to be there in your office always. But then buying a house, buying a car, buying a product which is you don't buy often, selling to a customer who will not be your regular customer. Such strategies, or buying from a flea market. So from pin to house, doesn't matter the size of the contract, but will you have another interaction soon? Such kind of negotiations normally adopt a competitive strategy because what you want is, I want to win, even if others lose. Even if others lose. So what do you do normally? What you do is you normally go to a flea market, you like a piece of cloth, and that person says 500, you say 200. Ultimately, you settle it, you will take at 300, he'll say 350. Now you use the one master. You say, no, 300, or I'll go to the next stop and buy it. Next shop and buy it. Right? He says, I'm making a loss. You will say, no, I don't care. You earn from someone else. You become ruthless. Such negotiations, such strategies should only and only be adopted in case of one-time negotiation. The other quadrant is relationship, where relationship is important, but task isn't. So again, task may be important, but relationship is much more important. Negotiating with your spouse, with your family, with your longtime friend, any of this requires relationship giving relationship extreme importance. You don't care about the task. So what you do in this case is you try to make them happy. And so what you do is you others win. You let them win. Even if I lose, I'm okay to give up for it. And this strategy is called accommodation. Example is, say if you have a class right now, once you finish the class, your spouse says, let's go outside to eat, but you are too tired to go out. What would you do? Or say you want to go out, but your spouse is too tired to go out. You say, I want to go out. The spouse says, no, I don't want. What are you going to do? You might have a little bit of argument, but then ultimately you'll say, ठीक है, नहीं जाना, नहीं जाना. Are you going to tell your spouse that no, I am going out, if you don't go, come, I will go with someone else? That would backfire very badly. That you can't do. Whilst you are laughing, Devendra. But how many times have you fought with a friend over a thing which you don't even remember? How many times do you use cross strategies? Knowing exactly which strategy to adopt is key to successful negotiations. But then, with the same spouse, you have a career conflict. Can you accommodate there? No, because career is an important part, as much important as family. And so it moves into high relationship, high task. And this is where you look at collaboration. What is collaboration? Trying to figure out what they want, trying to figure out what we want, and together trying to work out a solution, which is called a win-win solution. Which is called a win-win solution. negotiations with about career, about important things like buying a house with your family are fall into this category. Negotiations with prospective employers fall in this category because you are going to be associated with them constantly. Prospective employees, negotiations with your subordinates, negotiations with your supervisors, all of this fall into this category. And that is why I have been constantly emphasizing throughout the 2 sessions that you need to be kind. You need to be polite. You need to know how to say a particular thing. And collaboration is task and relationship. Both are important. And so they can go either ways, task conflict or relationship conflict. The better you keep it in the task domain, the better it is. The more you keep it in the task domain, the better it is. And this is called collaboration. Are we clear? So these are the 4 strategies. What you need to understand is strategy is dependent on the goals. What is your goal, that decides your strategy. So with a customer, if my aim is to gain the trust, then probably or win that customer for one time, what I would choose is accommodation. But the second time I may not. And I will again pause.
The recording has stopped.
I live in Bombay. And when I live in Bombay,
This meeting is being recorded.
Who is it who's switching on the recording? I am pausing.
The recording has stopped.
So I live in Mumbai. And you all know what has happened in the last 7-8 years in Mumbai politics. What happened? When Shiv Sena, Eknath Shinde, broke away from Shiv Sena and went to BJP, what was the number of seats he had? Very less. But who was made the chief minister? Eknath Shinde. What did BJP do? BJP adopted an accommodation strategy. Now with the same person, after the 2024 elections, what happened? Devendra Fadnavis became. So even with the same person, depending on the situation that you have, you will have to change the strategy. Are we understanding it?